Ryan P is not a household name, but he has a successful presence on the internet. Ryan P is an Australian YouTube manager for many different YouTube channels. He is currently or formerly the manager of the following YouTube channels: Misfits, Lunch Club, and the large CSGO YouTubers. He's also worked on a merch company that works with OTK, Corpse Husband, Valkyrie, and many more YouTube celebrities, known as Revolt. He also has a U2s for some reason, number 123. I'm sure that collectible will go up in value now. But this video is not going to focus on the underrated business success of Ryan P or his U2s, but recently serious allegations have come out against him. These accusations have these themes, so if you're not comfortable with these topics being discussed, I recommend clicking off the video. I also want to point out there is no concrete evidence against Ryan P at the moment, but there's been multiple testimonies out there against Ryan P, and I do believe these accusations need to be talked about considering he's an important figure mostly behind the curtain of a lot of YouTube channels and YouTube merchandise. On September 22nd, 2022, former Lunch Club member NoahHugBox released a Twitlonger titled Game Over, where he talks about a variety of topics including about Mizkif and dream stands, but I'm going to cover the relevant parts where he talks about his former manager Ryan P and his behind the scenes testimony about Lunch Club's biggest controversy, the Call Me Carson allegations. Some context behind the Carson allegations was that it happened around January of 2021 when Noah and Travis went on Drama Alert to talk about the Call Me Carson allegations with sexual messages towards minors. One alleged victim would come out after the Drama Alert interview, who was 17 years old, claiming to have sexual messages with the 19 to 20-year-old Carson. In the Twitlonger, Noah gives his side of the story, but many people have criticized his Twitlonger for lack of evidence. I'll read the important parts about the alleged Ryan P's involvement, but keep in mind once again that these allegations are from Noah and not verified claims. We'll start with the Carson thing. I found out about what he did in March 2020, and for a moment considering tweeting it right then and there. Unfortunately, I did not have any concrete details initially. In fact, the few details I had were lies. The group had a meeting later that day in which our quote-unquote manager, Ryan, told us that he had quote-unquote dealt with this several times before and we can make this go away. And some of the members of the group insisted that we needed to stick by Carson. At this point, I was checked out completely, but naively was shocked that so many people seemed to value their careers over doing the right thing. Over the next several months, I started asking around as to what others had been told, and found that every single person was told an entirely different story as to how many girls he was contacting and what their ages were. This pushed me to do something, and I actually gotten the entire group to agree to recording a video of each of us simply saying what we were told and uploading it directly to the Lunch Club channel. No baseless accusations, no clout chasing, just the truth. At the last moment, many pulled out of the video because, in Shalat's words, he quote-unquote had too much to lose. Deja vu. It was never supposed to go through Keemstar. Many people who knew this to be the case because they were there then took to Twitter to flame me for quote-unquote going to Keemstar when it was actually Keem who messaged me first after someone tipped him off. I wasn't going to back down because so many people were being selfish cowards, and thankfully a close friend had my back and came with me. Drama Alert was the absolute last resort because again, this stuff is not drama to me. Carson had a whole Discord of content creators that aided him in strategizing damage control in the lead up to Drama Alert because naturally Ryan had gone behind my back, warned him, and tried to prep him. I know this because not all of them suck, and they told me what was up. Then the creators in that Discord fled like rats from a sinking ship when it was clear the situation was not salvageable. I called Carson several times in the days leading up to the Drama Alert because I did not want the venue to discredit the story, and I wanted him to take responsibility for his actions like a fucking adult. To this day, he hasn't admitted to what he did. Everyone still thinks it was a 2-year age gap. That is not true. I was told in private, Ryan had said, and I know this is gonna sound like a joke, Noah is like the Joker. He just wants to see my whole operation burn. I didn't see how exposing a weirdo would bring down his whole quote-unquote operation, but that started to make sense later. Ryan pushed me to do a commentary style expose video on Carson, which I had no interest because I didn't believe in profiting off of something like this. Then in March of last year, he called me and said to me verbatim, You can never tell anyone about this. The problem for you has always been money. That made me sick to my stomach, seeing as I had just knowingly lit any potential for an online career on fire, because to me, not being partied to bullshit like that is worth a hell of a lot more than being a fucking e-celeb. That very idea I would take an actual real life bribe to stay quiet about everything made me wonder how common that is in this industry. If this was presented to me, a bystander, can't even imagine what the actual victims are told. He also brought up to me that when I first met him, I told him how the whole reason I had even participated in the lunch club stuff was because my dad had cancer and I wanted to help him retire. I owe most everything that made me the person I am today to my father. Hell, my game reviews were based on conversations he and I had, and I figured it was the least I could do if he was going to kick the bucket. Not trying to seem like Mr. Good Guy here, but that's the genuine reason why I had to put up with that shit for so long. Fortunately, my dad's fine now. He was fine by the time Ryan said this to me. The fact he tried to leverage me with my father's brain tumor genuinely made me laugh, but not because it was funny. I told him to shove it, and when I later brought up how disturbing all this was, all he had to say was that he had switched up his meds. Sure, buddy. The quote-unquote, the mental health shield is used by these people a lot. In this next part, I'm going to shout out a creator by the name Bruhlie, who did an amazing job covering this allegation in particular, and provided a great background of it. So if you want to watch his video for this part, or want to subscribe to his channel, I will appreciate that. On November 23rd, 2022, YouTuber Peckett would make cryptic tweets about an abuser he dealt with, and Peckett claims the abuser has a lot of victims. He also states that he's not comfortable with the Australian YouTube gaming space anymore, but he's glad that he was able to switch paths from it. On November 25th, 2022, Peckett would follow up and release a statement making serious allegations against Ryan P. Peckett is not just a random person either. Both Ryan P and Peckett had connections with an Australian Minecraft group known as The Cube, with notable members like Strawberry Jam and Hey Peckett would appear in videos with The Cube, and Ryan P would interact with the group a lot on Twitter. According to Strawberry Jam's Cube Minecraft wiki, Strawberry Jam, Hey Peckett, and Ryan P were going to live together. There's no source to back up that claim, and wikis are not the most reliable sources of information, but the overall point is that Peckett and Ryan P did have connections with each other, and Peckett is not just a random person making these allegations. In this statement, Peckett wrote, "Throughout my time working with the Misfits and their merch company, I was continually put into extremely uncomfortable situations with Ryan and made to partake in sexual acts which I would only ever agree to after being coerced. Told I would get a promotion, get to live with my friends, taken on overseas trips, or made a money offer I wasn't in the position to refuse, as I was underpaid, never paid on time. I witnessed him perv on his employees in the shower, break into his clients' phones to search for private photos, take advantage of men who has given away too much alcohol and drugs. He uses his money and influence to manipulate vulnerable people into fulfilling his sexual desires. I know of many more stories that make me sick and give me nightmares to this day. It's not my place to share them. To others with similar experiences, you're not alone." The Misfits are aware of at least some of these actions and chose to look the other way and leave their audience and staff open to abuse. I have lost all respect for them. Having a platform is a privilege, and the people that allow you to have one should be protected. For some reason, the tweet that I just read has now been deleted by Peckett. Peckett also stated this a couple days later after the original tweet. "To everyone that has reached out to me publicly and privately, sharing your stories and giving me your support, I appreciate you all so much. I'm not scared. I don't owe anyone any evidence. I'm just happy it's out there. People are aware and I can hopefully move on." Now I'm gonna play a section of Bruhlie's video. Again, he did a great job referencing this allegation and the outcome after Peckett's tweets at the time. Once again, go ahead and sub to Bruhlie.
Ryan P has not made any statement responding to the accusations, and neither have the Misfits or any of the other creators Ryan P is close with. There is some circumstantial evidence unknown to most people that gives more credence to Peckett's story. Since Peckett's accusations have dropped, Ryan P has deactivated his Instagram account, and the Misfits management website has been taken down. Additionally, on LinkedIn, it says Ryan P left Misfits management in 2022, but it also still shows him working for the actual Misfits YouTube channel and for Misfits management's associate company REVOLT. In the days that followed Peckett's tweet, Rambo and Pokey might have unfollowed Ryan P on Twitch. There were also a handful of associates of the Misfits who did come out and support Peckett silently by liking or retweeting his post. Out of all these people, I would say Kaizo, Drummy, C-Scoop, and Joko are the most notable, as these 4 I know for a fact have either worked or met up with both ryanp and Peckett. A few other creators have also supported Peckett through replies or quote retweets. Australian Twitch streamers GwenMelon and JordyXP. Cloudyyy, SwaggerSo's former editor, and he claimed that sexual behavior was normalized at the Misfits working environment, which honestly probably is not a good thing, and he also asked to see more evidence before he made a decision. Gingy, who claims to have a similar albeit less severe experience with ryanp. This is notable as he is actually Heyzeus' ex-boyfriend.
Fast forward to October 9th, 2023. A new person came out with allegations against ryanp. It goes by Goonan. I do not know who Goonan is, but in his YouTube and X bio it says he lives in Australia and has 24.5k subs. He also has a photo on Instagram with one of the Misfits, Zuckles, in 2020. Goonan wrote, "My ryanp experience. I was introduced to the Misfits and ryanp back in 2020. I was 18-19 at the time, with a huge passion for content creation. Having the opportunity to be friends with and all the boys at the time was a gift. I didn't want to fuck it up. Ryan took quick interest in me. He showed me what it was like to have fuck you money. I never had fuck you money, so experiencing it made me want that. I was going through a rough time with my family, and he sent me a hefty sum to keep me on my feet and continue the constant grind because he saw quote-unquote potential in me. Even offering to send someone to my house to fix internet issues. He was that friend who would try and help in any way he could. I was being blindly groomed." Ryan added me on Snapchat, and after some back and forth of basic small talk, he then started to ask me questions about my sex life, and then went on to ask if I was quote-unquote hung, and if I had a nice cock, trying to convince me to send nudes. After some time of me being obviously hesitant, he then sent me $500 and explained if I sent him a nude, he would send a lot more money. I was put in a position where at the time I felt like if I said no to him, it would cost me the possibility of maybe being managed by Ryan or MMG in the future. I also needed money. I was jobless, giving all my focus to creating content, so I sent it to him. He gave me more money. It became a recurring thing until I blocked him when he quote-unquote accidentally saved my nudes to his camera roll, probably to use as blackmail because he was so scared of people finding out how much of a perverted cunt he is if I ever decided to speak out against them. Ryan would invite me to his little parties over at his place, and on one occasion, at the end of the night, he asked me if I wanted to jump in the outdoor spa with him, and I said sure. Ryan started to touch my feet under the water in the spa, making me freeze up. I was stuttering some bullshit to get out and have a shower. Ryan then insisted I used his shower. While in his shower, Ryan didn't give any warning and just walks into the bathroom and starts to take a piss. He then said, "Oi, look at this Goonan," and then turns around with his hand around his cock, wiggling it while he stares straight into my eyes with his head slightly tilted down, giving me the creeps. I laughed because I didn't know what to say. He just walked out, leaving the door ajar, just enough to catch him looking at me in the shower. After that experience, I was hesitant to go over. A year or so later at his new house, he told me to come into his room and told me to lie down on his bed, proceeded to show me nude photos, vids of his friend of mine, and I immediately felt uncomfortable. I froze up completely as soon as he put his hand on my groin. He told me to pull my pants down. He started touching my dick. While he was doing this, he was playing with himself. Ryan damn well knew I didn't want it because my legs were trembling and I was completely flaccid. I am constantly reminded that I didn't fight back or have the balls to say anything. And that haunts me the most. He then finished on himself and didn't say a word. Ryan handed me trauma in that moment, which ruined my aspirations for content creation, obliterated me as a man, destroying my sense of self-worth for a very long time. This is the most humiliating thing I will ever post because I can't hold it in anymore. For the people who had been chewed up and spat back out by Ryan, just know I'm always a message away, and remember, you are not alone. This isn't Ryan's first rodeo. I'm sorry, there isn't hard evidence. I can already sniff out a certain subreddit that's going to come straight for my throat for that reason. I wouldn't say all of this if it wasn't true. Ryan is a master manipulator and a predator. I will never forgive him. After Goonan's post, many members of Misfits liked Goonan's post, such as Fitz and Swagger Souls. I am unsure if Ryan P is still the manager of Misfits, but it seems like the Misfits might finally cut ties with Ryan P. Here are some replies under Goonan's post that caught my attention. BluesDank said, "Know a lot of people who had uncomfortable interactions and even had a weird, not comparable, but weird interaction with the guy. Really sorry that you had to go through this. Fucking despicable." And from Peckett, the original accuser that came out last year, said, "Not easy post to make, respect." A different creator known as Rawssy showed screenshots of the Misfits company and Ryan P sending him money and said the following: "I know you can't share proof, but I can. Ryan has treated many people, including myself and some friends, this way. I can confirm his behavior is disgusting, and he will throw money at people until they say yes. Screenshots of payments for proof. Sorry you had to go through this." A former editor of the Misfits that testified from Peckett's allegation now says this: "I tried so hard to think of words, but I was just at a loss. It's just a bro thing. We were comfortable with our bodies. I remember hearing those things come out of his mouth, but I never realized this was what he would do. This took courage. Stay strong, Goonan." Twitch streamer GwenMelon said this: "One day I'll tell my Ryan P story, but for now I'll just say this. This rabbit hole goes deep. This person has been abusing his power and money for years. I'm sure there's still people defending him to this day. The trail of victims that follows this man is staggering. It's been a rough couple of years for me, some of my close friends in this industry who have had the pleasure of dealing with Ryan. I've lost a lot of friends and connections because of him. I've seen him at gaming events as recent as DreamHack this year. It's even hard to post this as I'm still worried that people I once considered friends will come to his defense as they've done before. All I want to say is I never really enjoyed the taste of Kool-Aid. Please believe victims. It takes incredible bravery to speak out." Another person who wants to come forward goes by the name Hamish, or oohRemix, who has collabed with people in the past like Misfits, like Swagger Souls and PAX Australia. He said, "I'm not sure when or if I ever will, but my Ryan P story has fucked me up ever since it happened. I have so much anxiety even wanting to talk about it. I have all the evidence I need to make it known that this shit happened to me. I just don't know how to go forward with it. And when I say things that happened to me, I mean in public settings, group gatherings at the Misfits house. Everything was right under their nose." Okay, while making this video on October 11th, 2023, oohRemix, or Hamish, came out with his testimony. Hamish says, "I don't even know how to begin writing one of these, but I'm going to do my absolute best to write down as much as I can from the very beginning. This will be a long read, so buckle up. Back in 2019, I was at their $100,000 party at PAX Australia, filming the event for a vlog I was making, and that's when I met Ryan. He tapped me on the shoulder, introduced himself, asked if I wanted to do some work for the party and film for them. I obviously said yes, so he threw me up on the stage and I started filming. A lot of the footage you see in that video is actually mine. I slowly started meeting some of the boys and the very welcoming and the kind people that worked for them. So I was mingling and doing some film work at the PAX party. Once all that was over, I sent a lot of footage I took to the editors. Ryan hit me up saying how he was really happy what I did and that he would have some more work for me soon. This was something that was very, very exciting to me, as I was a big fan of the Misfits and their brand, but it was also the line of work that I wanted to do: editing, photography, and videography. All the things I was promised I would do for them. I finally found my dream job. This encouraged me to not only quit my current job, but to move from the Gold Coast to Melbourne so I could start working a part-time job doing Misfits on the side. 2 days later, I arrived in Melbourne. I was invited to do a 2 a.m. McDonald's run by Ryan. I had nothing better to do, and I really wanted a Big Mac, so I accepted. During the 30 or so minute cruise around the suburbs that he was giving me a tour on, he wasted no time asking about my sexuality and which way I floated. Obviously, that was a very weird thing for me to hear, but I shrugged it off and answered that I was straight. Talks about some work that would be coming up, and then that was that. About 6 months later, one of the Misfits moved in with me for about 8 to 10 months, which then had me hanging around Ryan more and him getting closer to me. Once COVID hit, that was a big shock to me, as I just moved down with barely any money to my name and I was struggling. This was something that Ryan had been made aware of because he had mentioned there wouldn't be work coming up for a while, and I had relayed I would be in a tough spot obviously COVID was out of control, but you saw a way to get to me and it worked. What I would like to mention is that I was getting transfers from two accounts, Ryan's personal account and the Misfits account. I've been shown what quote unquote fuck you money looks like, and obviously he didn't hand it over for charity. There was a return. It was consensual, explicit, and yes, it helped me out of a bad spot. But what I didn't ask for was the following. One night, I had hosted a Twitch meetup for my viewers, and we were all getting pretty lit in the city. And Ryan had seen on my story that I was out and about and pretty fucked up. He called me and said, come through to a party he was hosting at his house for a music video release that they were having for a friend. I accepted, brought some homies with, and pulled up. As I was walking around getting to know some people, I passed Ryan on his red director's chair. I felt two hands grab my ass, and they stayed there for a good 2 seconds before I got too far away that he couldn't grab anymore. This was in a room of maybe 60 people. He would then sit next to me on the couch while I'm having a conversation with someone else. And then I would feel my hand being grabbed out of nowhere. I moved my arm and awkwardly trying to give him to let go, and he wouldn't. So I stood up and went to talk to someone else. Later on, I was asked by Ryan if I would be interested in a house tour, which actually I was, but definitely not alone. So I called my best mate over to join me so I would feel safer. And the look on Ryan's face drops when he realized he couldn't take me alone is a face I'll never forget. And when I tell you it was a house tour, it was his room, then downstairs again to the party. No longer than a 1-minute tour in a 4-story house. So his intentions were clear. And I was very grateful for my friend that night. A couple of months go by and I received a message from Ryan, and he was trying to come to mind, so he couldn't pick me up in his car so we could quote unquote hang out. A couple of back and forth messages, he revealed his intentions, and I immediately shut it down. In no way do I want anything physical from him. He messaged back asking if next week worked better. I left it on red. Now, once COVID was on its way for most part of the beginning of 2021, work started picking up at the Misfits. Whether it was photography merch, filming for a video, or being an errand boy for the day, I was more than happy to help because, again, I really enjoy the people I was working with and forming friendships with. And I just try to shove all the Ryan bullshit to the side and just focus on the work and people I care about. And then comes another little gathering at the Misfits house, which I was invited to and was given some things to inhale, which I never had done before. But it was a condition of entry, he said. I laughed it off and tried to walk past. He then stopped me, handed me the stuff, so I took it, knowing it could alter my mind and body, but not to the extent I thought it would. I was pretty lit very fast, but I did not know what was happening and what I was doing. I asked for the bathroom because I wasn't feeling fantastic. I was led to his bathroom to use the bathroom after about 45 to 60 minutes of being at this gathering. And this is where things got really uncomfortable to talk about. I used the bathroom and was about to walk out. He was waiting at the door, offered an absurd amount of money for me to jump in the shower, and that's it. No funny business, just have a shower in a shower. I agreed as it was pretty straightforward. He didn't request to be in the room or anything. About 2 minutes into my shower, he invites himself with no warning beforehand, strips off in the bathroom, opens the shower door, and gets in. At this stage, my entire body is shaken. I'm already intoxicated, so my body really just started to shake uncontrollably because I was genuinely scared at what was about to happen. But I couldn't say anything. All I could see was this big guy standing in front of me, pouring me in the shower, and had nowhere to go. I felt so powerless and helpless. I just stood there in shock and terror, shaking while this man was touching me, doing whatever he wanted. After he left the bathroom, I stood there for what would have been at least 10 to 20 minutes in the shower, in shock, not crying, but just shaking, thinking what the fuck just happened. Could I have done something to get out of this? And my answer is still no. I was intoxicated and felt so intimidated and scared by him that I just genuinely wouldn't have known what to do to get myself out of that situation. I also wanted to mention that he showed me his phone with his OnlyFans account in hopes to get me off during this. And I immediately recognized the person on the screen being someone that he works with and other people I know he interacts with outside of work. I didn't say anything because I was having a quote-unquote what the fuck moment. I declined what he was trying to do, just looking away and closing my eyes. To this day, I am so humiliated. Even to be sharing this is so incredibly embarrassing and humiliating. But with Peckett coming forward with his experience first, and with the most recent statement, I found the courage to tell my story. I just want to thank everyone who has come forward before me. You are so incredibly brave, and I want to thank you so much for speaking out. I hope one day soon we can put all this behind us. CoffeeZilla, the popular YouTuber known for exposing internet crypto scams such as Sam Pepper and FaceK Save the Kids token, Logan Paul's CryptoZoo, an Ice Poseidon CX coin, posted that he was investigating Ryan P for a week for a completely different reason. He quoted Goonan's post and said, "I have been investigating Ryan P of the Misfits for about a week now. Accusations include not paying creators and millions owed from his merch company REVOLT. That investigation is still ongoing. DM me to talk." But last night, even worse accusations came out. CoffeeZilla's claim was backed up by CSGO YouTuber TDM Heyzeus, who used to work with Ryan P. FYI, Ryan had been managing a significant number, maybe even the majority, of large CSGO content creators. Neil CSGO said, "I don't know if this is the same Ryan, but didn't you work with him? He DM'd you about the K14 sale." TDM Heyzeus replied, "That's him." CoffeeZilla also stated he won't be covering the alleged sexual misconduct on his YouTube channel, but stated, "I believe these stories should be investigated by someone. If they were true, Ryan P hid in plain sight for years without any consequences. Hopefully, signal boosting these accusations will encourage reporting on this, or at the minimum, help victims feel safe coming out." Ryan P has now deactivated his X account after Goonan's post. I want to state for the record, this does not mean he's guilty, but it's not a good look. In Bruhlie's video, he mentioned about Ryan P's LinkedIn, but I could not find that account anymore. Seems like that account has been deleted as well. I would like to remind everyone that these allegations are personal testimonies and not strong evidence against Ryan. So it is possible Ryan P is not guilty of all claims, but the amount of people coming out, and maybe more, is concerning. It seems like this was an open secret that Ryan P was a weird person to be around, but with his connections, it helped him climb the ladder to continue to work with major YouTube creators. Do not know what former or current clients of Ryan P knew, so I won't speculate, but if they have something relevant to the case against them, that would be helpful. Both Pekky and Goonan reference that there's other people with similar experiences. So if that's the case, I hope some victim had the ability to gather up solid evidence against Ryan P and has the courage to come out with their story if Ryan P is truly a monster. This is an ongoing story, so I might provide updates if there's more stories to come out against Ryan P or if Ryan P officially responds to the allegations. I will leave links to all my sources in the description.